A woman with a PhD from Constance and a law degree from Oxford invented a cryptocurrency that had no blockchain, sold $4 billion of it to people in 175 countries, and then boarded a Ryanair flight and disappeared. The FBI does not know where she is. They do not know if she is alive. She is the only woman on the 10 most wanted list. The reward is $5 million. Her name is Ruja Ignatova, and the thing that makes this story different from every other crypto fraud is that she was not pretending to be smart. She was actually smart. The credentials were real, the Oxford degree was real, the doctorate was real. She used them anyway. In the summer of 2016, a man named Daniel, who lives in a village in Uganda, sells 3 goats. The goats are worth more than his monthly income. He takes the money and gives it to a recruiter who has come to his village to explain the future of money. The recruiter has a presentation. It has slides. It has numbers. It explains that a new cryptocurrency called OneCoin is going to replace Bitcoin, that it is backed by real technology and real leaders, and that the price of 1 token is going to rise from 50 cents to more than €29 by 2019. Daniel is not a speculative investor. He is a man who owns goats. But the recruiter is a local man, someone Daniel knows. And the recruiter was recruited by someone else, who was recruited by someone else, all the way up a chain that connects a village in rural Uganda to a penthouse in Sofia, Bulgaria. Daniel buys in. He receives a login to a website. On the website, a number tells him how many OneCoins he owns. That number is an entry in a private database controlled by a company in Sofia. It is not a cryptocurrency. It is not on a blockchain. It is a number on a screen. In Scotland, a woman named Jennifer McAdam invests £10,000. It is inheritance money. Her father promoted OneCoin to his family before he died. He believed in it, talked about it at dinners, urged his children to get in early. Jennifer does not question her father's judgment. She puts in the money. In Tennessee, a woman whose name was later withheld by prosecutors invests $103,500, her life savings. These 3 people will never get their money back. They are 3 out of roughly 3 million. Ruja Ignatova was born on May 30th, 1980, in Rus, Bulgaria, a city on the Danube that was losing population faster than almost any city in Europe. Her family was Romani. In 1990, when she was 10, they emigrated to Germany. She grew up in Schramberg, a small town in Baden-Württemberg, and did something that almost nobody from her background was expected to do. She excelled. She studied law and economics at the University of Constance, one of Germany's elite research universities, and completed a PhD in private international law in 2005. Her doctoral thesis examined the harmonization of European contract law across member states. It was dense, technical, published and cited. Legitimate academic work that required years of sustained research. She went to Oxford. She earned a Master of Jurisprudence, an MJUR, a postgraduate degree in comparative and international law that is not handed out to people who cannot do the reading. Oxford does not admit on charm. She completed the programme. She worked at McKinsey & Company for a period, advising on corporate strategy. She spoke fluent German, English and Bulgarian. She was comfortable in a boardroom in Frankfurt or a lecture hall in London. She was, by every credential that matters in European professional circles, the real thing. The kind of person you would trust to manage your portfolio or restructure your company. But there was a crack in the biography that most people never saw. In 2012, Ruja Ignatova was convicted of fraud in Germany. The case involved a metalworking firm called Voltenhofen Steelworks. The company had been acquired as part of a complex asset transaction, and Ignatova was implicated in fraudulent dealings related to the purchase. She received a 14-month suspended sentence. A suspended sentence in Germany is not prison. It is a legal fact that sits in a file. The conviction was not widely reported. For someone with the right presentation, the right credentials, the right next move, it can be buried under what comes after. What Ruja did next was not bury it. She used the conviction as a kind of rehearsal. She had learned what the system looked for and what it missed. She had seen how long due diligence takes and how rarely anyone checks the background of a person whose foreground is polished enough. What came after was OneCoin. Ruja launched it in 2014 from Sofia, Bulgaria. The pitch was simple and enormous. OneCoin was going to be the next Bitcoin, but better, faster, more accessible, built for ordinary people. The structure she built around it was not a trading platform. It was a multi-level marketing operation. You did not simply buy OneCoin. You bought an educational package, a set of online courses about cryptocurrency and financial literacy, bundled with a certain number of OneCoin tokens. The cheapest package was around €100. The most expensive was more than $100,000. The educational framing was the structural genius of the whole operation. Regulators in most countries do not investigate companies that sell educational materials. Pyramid scheme laws trigger when you sell a product that has no independent value. But educational courses technically have value, which means the tokens bundled with them could be presented as a bonus, not the product itself. The tokens were the product. Nobody was buying OneCoin for the financial literacy courses. But the legal architecture was clean enough to delay scrutiny for years. In country after country, regulators looked at OneCoin and saw an education company that happened to offer a digital currency. By the time they looked again, the money had already moved. The MLM structure was the distribution engine. Each new recruit could earn commissions by selling packages to people below them, up to 10 levels deep. Top recruiters earned six-figure monthly commissions. Some earned millions. They had no reason to ask whether the coin was real. Their income came from selling packages, not from the coin going up. This meant the people promoting OneCoin the hardest were not Ruja's employees. They were independent contractors, tens of thousands of them in dozens of countries, working their own networks, hosting their own events, translating the pitch into their own languages. They were true believers and commission earners simultaneously, and it was impossible to tell which motive was stronger. The technology was even simpler than the marketing structure. OneCoin claimed to operate on a proprietary blockchain, a private ledger that would eventually be made public. The company called it a feature: privacy, security, controlled growth. There was no blockchain. The entire system was a SQL database in Sofia. When you bought tokens, a number was added to your account in a database table. When the company announced a price increase, which it did regularly on a published schedule, the numbers in the database were adjusted upward. Your coins were worth more because the company said they were worth more. There was no market. There was no independent exchange. There was no mechanism to sell OneCoin for actual currency. OneCoin did set up an internal exchange called XCoinX. In theory, this was where members could trade their coins for euros. In practice, the exchange had daily withdrawal limits so low that converting a significant holding would take years. Most withdrawal requests were delayed, reduced, or simply denied. The exchange existed to create the appearance that the coins could be sold. The appearance was enough. And this is where it gets interesting. Ruja did not operate from the shadows. She operated from a stage. She filled arenas. Wembley Arena in London, June 11th, 2016. Thousands of people in the audience, a light show, music, and Ruja walking out in a red ball gown with a professional microphone clipped to her ear. She called herself the CryptoQueen. She told the audience that one coin would overtake Bitcoin. She showed charts, she showed projections, she had the Oxford credentials projected on screens behind her, and the McKinsey consulting background mentioned in the introduction. The audience was not composed of venture capitalists or Silicon Valley engineers. It was composed of people who had been recruited by other people, who had been recruited by other people. The MLM structure working exactly as designed, pulling in hairdressers and taxi drivers and retired teachers and farmers with 3 goats. The presentations happened globally. Sofia, Dubai, Macau, Kampala, Kuala Lumpur, Lagos, Ho Chi Minh City. In each city, local recruiters organized events, translated materials, and earned commissions on every package sold beneath them in the chain. The events had a structure: music first, then testimonials from successful recruiters, people who had bought in early and were now earning commissions that dwarfed their previous salaries. Then the charts, showing OneCoin's price history climbing in a smooth upward curve that bore no resemblance to how any actual cryptocurrency market behaves. Then Ruja. She appeared last. She spoke in English. She referenced her credentials. She talked about financial inclusion, the unbanked population, the failures of Bitcoin, the future that OneCoin was building. The people in the audience were not evaluating a blockchain white paper. They were watching a woman with a doctorate from a German university and a law degree from Oxford tell them that the financial revolution they had heard about was real, that she had built it, and that they were still early. By 2016, OneCoin had collected more than $4 billion from investors in 175 countries. The money flowed into accounts controlled by Ruja and a small circle of associates in Sofia. Some of it was laundered through a network of bank accounts and shell companies across Europe and the Middle East. Some of it was spent immediately. Ruja bought a penthouse in Sofia worth several million euros. She bought property in London. She travelled by private charter. She wore designer gowns to events where she told audiences of hairdressers and taxi drivers that she was building a currency for the people. The internal communications, later recovered by prosecutors, show that nobody in the inner circle believed the blockchain was coming. The technical team in Sofia knew what they were running. The database administrators, who adjusted the coin values on schedule, knew there was no mining, no proof of work, no distributed ledger. They did it anyway. The salaries were good. In early 2017, something shifts. The US Department of Justice has opened an investigation. The FBI has OneCoin in its sights. Several national regulators, Italy, Germany, India, China, have issued warnings or outright bans. The Chinese crackdown is the most dramatic. In 2016, Chinese authorities arrest 98 people connected to OneCoin's operations in the country and seize $30 million in assets. OneCoin's Chinese network, one of its largest, collapses in a matter of weeks. Ruja does not panic publicly. She continues to appear at events. She continues to project confidence in interviews and internal communications. But behind the scenes, she is making arrangements. In the summer of 2017, she transfers operational control of key OneCoin functions to her brother, Konstantin Ignatov. Konstantin is not a PhD from Constance. He is not an Oxford graduate. He is a personal trainer from Germany with no background in finance or technology. He is family. That is his qualification. Ruja begins to pull back. Her public appearances become less frequent. Internal communications from this period, later obtained by prosecutors, show a woman who knows the window is closing. On October 25, 2017, Ruja Ignatova boards a Ryanair flight from Sofia to Athens. She does not arrive at any scheduled meeting. She does not appear at any hotel under any known name. She does not contact any known associate through any channel that investigators have been able to trace. She is 37 years old. She has a PhD, a law degree from Oxford, a fraud conviction in Germany, and somewhere in the range of several $100 million in stolen funds, distributed across accounts and assets that have never been fully mapped. She disappears. Not in the dramatic sense. There is no car chase, no midnight border crossing, no shootout. She books a budget airline ticket to a European capital 2 hours away and walks through airport security with whatever documents she is carrying. Athens is a transit city. It has a port. It has connections to every country in the Eastern Mediterranean and beyond. A person with cash and preparation can leave Athens for a dozen countries within hours of landing. Ruja had cash. Ruja had preparation. The Ryanair booking is the last confirmed record of Ruja Ignatova. It was her brother who started the end. Konstantin Ignatov takes over OneCoin after Ruja vanishes. He is not equipped for the role. He does not have the academic credentials to project authority to regulators. He does not have the composure to manage a global fraud operation under active investigation by the FBI. But he tries. For 17 months, Konstantin keeps OneCoin running. New packages are sold. New recruits join. The database in Sofia continues to show rising coin values to anyone who logs in. The scale of the thing makes it hard to shut down, even from the inside. There are millions of accounts. There are recruiters in 175 countries who are still earning commissions. There are offices in Sofia with employees who come to work every morning and manage a system that everyone in the building knows is not what it claims to be. Konstantin travels. He attends events. He tries to fill the role Ruja left. He does not have the Oxford degree, or the red ball gown, or the ability to stand in front of a crowd and make them believe that the future of money is being built in Bulgaria. He has a German passport and a flight itinerary that includes Los Angeles. On March 6, 2019, Konstantin Ignatov lands at Los Angeles International Airport. FBI agents are waiting at the gate. He is arrested on charges of wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy. He is taken into federal custody. Konstantin does what Ruja never did. He cooperates. He cooperates extensively. Over the next 34 months in custody, he provides testimony, documents, recordings, and internal communications that expose the full architecture of OneCoin. Not just the marketing operation that the public saw, but the financial plumbing behind it. His cooperation leads prosecutors directly to a man named Mark Scott. Mark Scott is a former partner at Lock Lord LLP, one of the largest law firms in the United States. He has degrees from Bucknell and Pace Law School. He is exactly the kind of credentialed, respectable professional that sophisticated financial fraud requires. Scott set up a network of fake private equity funds, British Virgin Islands entities with names designed to look like legitimate investment vehicles. Through these funds, he moved $400 million in OneCoin proceeds through international bank accounts, layering the money through enough transactions that its origins became opaque. He was paid approximately $50 million for his services. Scott is convicted in November 2019. In January 2024, he is sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Konstantin's cooperation unravels the money trail. It identifies co-conspirators. It maps the internal communications. But it does not find Ruja. Konstantin is released after 34 months. His sentence is reduced to time served for cooperation. He walks free. The FBI, meanwhile, escalates. In June 2022, Ruja Ignatova is placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. She is the only woman on it, the 11th woman in the list's 72-year history. The reward is initially set at $100,000. In June 2024, it is raised to $5 million. The FBI does not raise rewards for people it thinks are dead. But someone thinks she is dead. A Bulgarian organised crime intelligence report, referred to in media coverage as the Bird Report, alleges that Ruja Ignatova was killed in late 2018 on a yacht in the Mediterranean. The report names a Bulgarian drug trafficker known as Taki, full name Christoforos Nikos Amanatidis, as the person who ordered the killing. According to the report, Ruja's body was dismembered on the yacht and thrown overboard. Taki is a known figure in Bulgarian organised crime. His connection to Ruja, according to the Bird Report, was both personal and financial. He allegedly provided security and money laundering services for the OneCoin operation. The report has never been formally confirmed by Bulgarian prosecutors. Its sourcing is unclear. The intelligence methods behind it have not been disclosed. The FBI has acknowledged the Bird Report's existence. They have not changed their operational posture. There are reasons to doubt the murder theory. A body dismembered at sea leaves no forensic evidence to confirm or deny. Taki has reasons to claim Ruja is dead that have nothing to do with whether she actually is. And the timing, late 2018, a full year after her disappearance, leaves open the question of where she was for those 12 months, if she was alive the whole time. There are also reasons to believe it. Ruja was carrying access to hundreds of millions of dollars in laundered funds. She was a liability to everyone who had helped move the money. Dead clients do not cooperate with prosecutors. The FBI treats her as alive. In November 2024, a new lead surfaces. Investigators report evidence suggesting Ruja may be living in Cape Town, South Africa, a city with a large expatriate community, limited extradition enforcement, and the kind of infrastructure that makes disappearing into a comfortable life possible. The details of the lead are not made public. The trail does not result in an arrest. She remains missing. 7 years after a Ryanair flight to Athens, the woman who filled Wembley Arena and called herself the CryptoQueen has not been seen, confirmed dead, or confirmed alive. Her face is on wanted posters in FBI field offices. Her name is in Europol databases. Interpol has issued a red notice. The money, $4 billion taken from 3 million people in 175 countries, has never been fully recovered. A July 2024 worldwide freezing order obtained in UK courts targets remaining OneCoin assets, but the amount recoverable is a fraction of what was taken. In Uganda, Daniel never got his goats back. In Scotland, Jennifer McAdam became one of the most vocal OneCoin victims, giving interviews to the BBC, speaking at conferences, trying to warn others. The £10,000 her father believed in is gone. The inheritance that was supposed to pass through a family ended in an SQL database in Sofia. In Tennessee, $103,500 in life savings sits as a line item in a federal prosecutor's victim impact statement. The website still showed coin values for months after Ruja disappeared. The database kept running. The numbers kept going up. Nobody could sell, nobody could withdraw, but the numbers were there, on the screen, telling people in 175 countries that their investment was growing. The coins were never real. The blockchain was never built. The educational packages were a legal wrapper around a recruitment chain that stretched from London arenas to Ugandan villages. Ruja Ignatova built something that should not have worked. A cryptocurrency with no technology. A financial revolution sold through multi-level marketing. A global investment scheme run from a database in Bulgaria by a woman whose fraud conviction was already on record. It worked because she was real. The PhD was real. The Oxford degree was real. The McKinsey background was real. The stage presence, the red ball gown, the technical vocabulary. These were not fabrications of a person pretending to be qualified. They were the tools of a person who was qualified and chose to use those qualifications to construct something that was entirely fake. That is what made her different from every other crypto fraud of the era. The technology was fake. The person selling it was genuine. And the genuine person boarded a Ryanair flight on October 25, 2017, landed in Athens, and walked into a gap in the record that 7 years of international law enforcement have not been able to close. The FBI's 10 most wanted list has her photograph. It is from 2017. She is wearing a dark blazer. She looks like a woman who is about to give a presentation. The reward is $5 million.